Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a fairy named Sierra. She was a beautiful and kind fairy dwelling in Mount Anacuao in the Philippines.
Sierra made the Philippines vibrant and alluring. She used her powers to make plants, flowers, and mountains thrive. Everything her breath touches is revitalized, be it a wilted flower or an arid mountain. Her powers also prevented her sister Danum from flooding the land. This earned her the respect and praise of the citizens of the country.
Danum had power over water. She was a water fairy that had a very angelic face, but unlike her sister Sierra, her heart was rotted by envy. She envied her sister, who was respected by everyone, but no matter what she did, all she ever reaped was the hate and resentment of people. Every bit of spite the citizens aimed at her because of too much or too little rain ate at her heart, until all that was left was an empty gorge. She took this emptiness and filled it with her tears and her rage.
Danum schemed to bring catastrophic floods in the country, which she hoped would lead to the destruction of the country's land and everything that the people worked hard for. First, she planned on creating utter chaos throughout the country, to spread fear by flooding the provinces and destroying the crops, thus creating a problem in the food supply. She intends to use her power and force the country to bow down before her, and force the country to bow down to her power.
One day, heavy rain poured. At first glance, no one knew that Danum was causing the rain, but Sierra felt the tug between her and her sister's special bond that always happened when one of them used her powers. However, it was too late for Sierra to stop her sister, because even though they had a magic bond, them growing distant from one another had greatly damaged it. She was able to slow down the growing flood with her powers, but Danum began to attack in earnest, commanding torrents of rain and howling winds. Sierra was doing the best that she could do to lessen the flood, but Sierra was surprised by his sudden urgent power. With a smirk, Danum unleashed a mighty tempest.
Danum's attack devastated a little town called Suba, several miles away from Mount Anacuao. Its proximity to Mount Anacuao always sheltered the town from storms, so townspeople were sure that the mountain would protect them as it usually did. However, Danum's winds were too strong, and the town suffered from heavy floods. Sierra mustered all the energy and power that she had. With both hands raised, more mountains rose up from the ground. Soon, a mountain range formed. But she knew that wasn't enough. She still had to face her sister, which made her worry for the citizens.
Sierra was tired. Summoning the mountain range weakened her, and she knew it. However, the battle was far from over. Danum was too strong, and together they managed to break down the country's mountain barriers. Sierra realized that in order to face her sister with a clear head, she needed to stop worrying about the townspeople. And so, she gathered them in one place and urged them to evacuate.
She faced Danum, who was standing a few feet away. Sierra had hoped that her sister would have a change of heart, but envy and resentment had made her lose what was left of her compassion. With a cold expression, Danum raised her arms and shot a blast of cold wind. Sierra, on the other hand, countered the attack. Rocks began to rise, and she aimed them towards Danum. The other sister shielded herself by freezing water and turning it into a shield. Ice and wind and rocks clashed against one another, meeting in between the two sisters. This went on for days, until Danum, who was slowly fading away because of her lost compassion and energy, screamed in anguish as she felt herself slowly losing herself to nature. And so, with one last urge of power from Sierra, rocks began to pile around Danum. And with that, the final mountain in Sierra's mountain range was formed.
When she arrived at where the townspeople evacuated, she heard the townspeople cheer, "Sierra! Sierra! Sierra!" They defeated Danum, and at last the battle was over. She knew, however, that a lot of damage still needed to be fixed. Raising a hand, she willed all the damage caused by her sister across the country be fixed. Crops began to grow, landslides from the mountains undid itself, and herbs grew so that the injured people could get nursed back to health. Sierra went back to her mountain. Only now, Mount Anakua wasn't alone. The mountain range Sierra summoned during the battle stayed, and it now protects various towns and provinces from heavy rains and floods.